you are a Bears, legend through and through. How you feel about the decision? I mean, they've moved on officially from Justin Fields. I mean, we know they're drafting Caleb Williams. It's obvious. Do you feel like this was the right move? How are you feeling as a former Bear?
Nah, man. I think I think for the second time in a row, the Bears played their hand way too early, right? Like when they had the first pick, they traded it to Houston a month before the draft. You don't realize how desperate teams are going to be to get their star player. And so, it is a gamble. I'll be the first to say it is a gamble. But when you got the first pick, that is, when we play in spades, that's the big joker. Right. That's the big joker. You got to run that all the way up until draft time and see the desperation in a team. And same with this year. We let Justin Fields go for a 6th-round pick. Man, all we had to do was wait until the draft, package him up, and we could have got more than a 6th-round pick, which will turn into a 4th if he plays 51%, which he won't.
I almost had to pull out my strap on the homie the other day. This motherfucker played the big joker, and I had the fucking ace, and the little joker hadn't been played yet.
Don't you hate a motherfucker can't manage his hand?
Homie, what you said right now is just like, God damn. I was like, what the fuck you doing, homie? We lost. We fucking didn't even make books.
Y'all got set. No, man, that's what I'm saying. Listen, Poe's from Chicago, man. He'd rather have 5 jacks than 2 jokers. And I'd rather have the jokers, man. Let me go through, let me ride it out. But giving him away for a 6th-round pick, so that, what did he say? So that he kind of knows where he's gonna go. Man, this is the big boy league. This is not college. You better use that person and get him for the most value as you can. And I guarantee if you would have waited up until draft day, you could have got a lot more for that kid. So
let me ask you. Let me give you my perspective. What if I said I don't agree for this fact? First of all, I want to be on record. I think they should have kept Justin Fields for the growth that he's been doing, the roster, the roster improvement that I think the Bears finally gave some weapons around. I just was like, you're starting all over what you just did 3 years ago with Justin Fields. Now you're going to do it again. I didn't agree to that. But let me give you my take on this quarterback deal. So far, we've seen basically these quarterbacks that were just first rounders 3 years ago, 2 years ago, being traded off for a Chico stick and a string cheese. 25 draft pick, a 6th rounder with Fields. You got Mac Jones for a 5th round to Jacksonville as a backup. You've had Small Hands Pickett just getting pushed out of Pittsburgh for basically a Chico stick and a string cheese. The quarterback market has become like so bad, in my opinion, which we've been discussing for a whole season on this show. But like, do you think like they weren't going to get shit anyway? Look at what they're getting for these other guys. Like they may not have got shit for him the later they waited. I agree with your take completely. If it was 5 years ago and you were trading away, a Stafford or somebody, but like now, I don't know if these cats hold any weight.
I mean, that's why I said it's a gamble. But I think whoever the Bears general manager is, they always take on the same kind of they take the same reputation as the owners, and they play they go real conservative. And that's great because when you get called into the owner's office, you're going to show, hey, I was conservative with this. I was conservative with that. You can't fire me for being like you guys. Man, I want to have somebody go in there, with some nuts like, yo, I'm going to let this shit ride. And I'm going to try to get the best possible outcome because if we're doing the same thing we did last time. We're predictable and we're showing our hand way too early. And Bears fans is definitely not happy.
So just for clarity, you don't necessarily mind the move of them giving away Justin Fields and moving forward with Caleb Williams. You're just saying they could have played it smarter by giving away Justin Fields later on.
Yeah. And right. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily be married to the Caleb Williams kid. I mean, like I'm glad that I don't have to make that decision because
it's tough, man. Seriously,
like OJ said, the quarterback products coming out of college right now, they are not. I mean, listen. My draft alone, we had Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, we had 2004. Y'all go look it up. We had like a lot of Hall of Famers in that draft. And just looking at the quality of quarterbacks, like it's truly a crapshoot what they gonna do.
Tank, let me ask you this. Be real. At that moment, though, 2004, did you guys just know that Big Ben was going to be what he became coming out of Miami, Ohio, which is a MAC team that I played against every single year? Did y'all just know Eli Manning was going to win? Like, maybe y'all did. I'm asking because I was young. Like, did we know these guys were going to be that? Because a lot of times, like, even whether it's current players, analysts, whatever, we're all just taking educated guesses, man. We really don't for real know. Caleb Williams might truly be everything that the people who are praising him think he'll become. He may not. Jaden Daniels might be. Like, we really don't really know until 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we'll look back and be like, we knew Caleb was gonna be this, that, and the third. Nah, like, I think none of us really know because there's so much intangible to go into this thing, and so much of like fit and system and so many other factors that we just haven't seen yet that plays into the part of the success of these players that I think we're all just guessing. Is that fair?
No.
Okay.
There were less variables to account for in a traditional pocket quarterback, right? There was way less variables, right? It was like, okay, has he started, 2 full seasons? Does he's got the measurables, and does he's got the intangible winning spirit? It wasn't. There's like 50 things you have to measure these quarterbacks by nowadays, and there was really only like 3 or 4. Have they led a team? Byron Leftwich coming out of the MAC. I mean, like, you knew, even though that ball was lesser, you could tell he was going to be a good quarterback in the pros. So I think now there's just so many more variables that you have to account for that it truly is a crapshoot.
Is the position harder now?
I think it's easier because there's not the demand to run an offense one or two ways. You don't have to stand in the pocket or run a play action. Now you can just run around and make plays like backyard, schoolyard ball. And that's fine in certain instances, but that makes the game easier for these guys to download, right? Because it's like, okay, if I can't stay in the pocket, I'm going to use my legs. That shit would get you on a bench in the last era, right? Because teams are going to hunt you down and hurt you.
Tank, this is why I told Smitty they're giving guys away for a Chico stick and a string cheese, because they're just going to grab the next guy who runs around back there, Kyler Murray, spins around, makes plays ad lib, and we're going to get that guy, and we'll just recycle. This is no different than college football recruiting. It's a meat market, and unfortunately, the kids are the pieces of meat in the market. This is what it is. It's recyclable business. Tank knows. I know. We've been thrown to the wolves for nothing, and it is what it is. They don't care about your health care. They don't care about this. They don't care about your tenure. They don't give a fuck at the end of the day. Nobody cares. So why would you think differently in the Justin Fields case? All you Bear fans in the chat, like, it is what it is. They're going to move on. I hate to see it. I thought Justin was making some strides, even though he had 0 O-line, 0 receivers. Fuck, let's be honest. 0 run game. Besides his +1 QB run game, there was no run game. And everyone wants to say, oh, they were 3rd in the league. No shit. By ad-lib QB runs in the pocket, from the pocket. So, like, I broke this shit down. I'm like, dog, you guys don't know football, really. Just stay in your lane.
There's this guy in the chat, AJ Maverick. He said that this guy says that playing in the NFL is easier now. Man, you got to listen, kinfolk. That's not what I said. What I said was playing quarterback is easier now because you are allowed to just run around and make plays instead of being forced to learn pocket, going through your progressions. It's an easier download. You got to pay attention. AJ Maverick.
I want to see. Oh, a guy with no face picture. I'm going to say, yes, it is easier. Fuck boy. I'm going to say it.
So why don't we think
nobody? You're a nobody? Like, these nobodies irk me. I don't like nobody.
That's why we're going to pay attention to them. So why don't we believe any of these quarterbacks in the draft can be good then? If we believe the position is easier now, it's easier to play the position in the league, it's easier to download, the league has changed, it's all these mobile quarterbacks, there's very few stay in the pocket QBs. Are we so down on this draft then, and we believe none of these quarterbacks who were really good to great in college will be anything in the NFL in this era?
I didn't say that they wouldn't be good. Only thing that I can really attest to is that when shit got hot, they didn't stay down. They got up, left, went to another quarterback and a coach and another culture. And like when you have that type of mentality jumping around, I just haven't seen somebody pick up a team, put them on their back. Shit, I could transfer to a team where they're just missing me. All they need is me. Okay, we could all do that, right? But until you stay down, do something, what you're gonna have to do in the National Football League, you can't jump from team to team. You got to go through the wins, the losses, the ups and the downs, and like I don't think that you really get that sample size from these quarterbacks. You see the talent, you see the ability, but the NFL is made up of much more different things, and so they got to get to the league for me to see that part.
Hey, it's real easy too, Smitty. Like, to answer your question, the reason the why. What is your question about the sample size and all this?
Well, because you just said that you believe it is easier to play the position in the league. The era has changed. It's softer. There's less for them to download. It's all these dual threat quarterbacks around the league, etc. So with all that being said, I was like, at the same time, you guys also don't, or JB, you don't really believe in any of these quarterbacks who are getting drafted. And I'm asking like why? If it's an easier league, why don't you believe that these guys, at least a couple of them, could adjust and actually have really good careers?
That's the question I wanted to ask. The question I wanted to ask, or answer, from you is, this is why. Why is because the history has told us why. You wouldn't be drafting a first-round quarterback every year if they were any good ones. Period. Like, if you had good quarterback play in the NFL, Smitty, first of all, you wouldn't be giving them away for a Chico stick and a string cheese 3 years into the league, number one. We just did that with 6 QBs. 6! And 2, we wouldn't be drafting these cats every single draft as a recycled piece of meat to replace the last guy we just drafted. Like, to me, it's an oxymoron. We're continuing to try to find the guy. Like, we shouldn't be doing that if quarterback market was so good as everyone thinks it is. It's not good.
Well, I agree to that, but at the same time, I think it's just that it's the era we live in, right, where you have to win like immediately. And these teams, these GMs have like short leashes. And if you're not showing them something in 2 years, it's a wrap. He's moving on. Like we just agree. We just both agree that we think Justin Fields should have stayed with the Bears and kept developing and kept going. But then they don't have time. It's like, no, we got to figure out something right now. And if you're not showing something right now,
I would love to lean on
Back
Tank.
in the days, they would let you develop and take time and have a couple bad seasons and do that.
I would love to lean on Tank on that part, because I'm going to go on a limb and say that's never changed, Smitty. GMs and owners have always wanted to win right away and right now. They've always appeased the fan base, and they always have drafted to appease the fan base. And it's always been a do it now or it's always been a result-oriented business.
They're more patient,
I think, at least in, before 2010, I think it was normal for a guy to get at least a year to sit on the bench and develop. So, if that's hurry up and winning, then they had to hurry up and win. But a lot of the great quarterbacks from the last generation, they got to sit a year. Aaron Rodgers, was one of them, you know what I'm saying? But again, man, it's just, it's tough. I was thinking about like the Cardinals, and when they got Josh Rosen, then they turned around and got Kyler Murray, and this was all like back to back, and like, it just shows that, like, man, you get it wrong, you get another one.
That's what I'm saying. I don't mean it by quarterback standards. I mean GMs and owners have always had they've always been on that, under that knife, so to speak, that pressure.
Yeah, 1 year that's not like a long time, you know what I'm saying? And they always want to win now, but if you got the luxury, then most teams would do that.
Yeah, no question.
I feel like every draft, my last thing, I feel like every draft, though, there's at least one quarterback that ends up being pretty damn good. Even you can think about the worst quarterback draft, there's always at least somebody that stands out like, okay, that guy was good. So, like, I know right now, JB, we're saying, I don't know, this whole draft looks bad. One of these QBs is going to do something.
Well, it
may not be Caleb. It's going to be somebody, though.
The best thing about the draft is that, like, we're always going to be overlooking somebody, because somebody's going to feel slighted and somebody's going to go to the right situation and ball out that we are not talking about right now. And that's the beauty of the NFL draft, and that's something that you can't measure when a person has that dog in them, and they say, okay, I see you talking about all these dudes. Shit, I was pissed off when 2 D tackles went in front of me, and we ended up really having like the number 4 defense in history. You know what I'm saying? And that was because I had a chip on my shoulder because Junior CIVE, rest in peace, and Igor Olshansky went in front of me.
Damn,
I love it.
2 names. The thing is, like, I'm just looking back in time, and I'm like, oh, these quarterback drafts for the last, I believe, whatever the stat was that I heard.
You said it yesterday. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, 66 or 68 quarterbacks in the draft in the first round over the last whatever years have been bust. Like, that's a telling stat.
We got to define bust, though. That's the only thing that's like.
Well, meaning they're not starting. They're not starting. They're not a franchise guy. They're not playing specific roles on their franchise. Like, that's, to me, if you're not playing, you were drafted in the first round, Smitty. Like, what are we drafting you for? You just saw 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round, traded for nothing.
No, but hold on. I do want to say this, though, and I want to get both of you guys' opinions on this. Okay, so Michael Penix, right, from UW, right? Yep. Like everyone is saying that he could go to Seattle with the 26th pick, right? They've got a lot of sample size on him. And I've been, the one thing that turned me off about Penix was how he was so afraid to get hit in the national championship game.
That's why I lost.
Okay, I get it. He was throwing darts all season. He had his little, demonstration going. But
darts.
Man, I mean, yeah, he was
like the game before that though. Oh my God, I was like, this is the number 1 pick. Like,
but then when they start putting that wood on him, he was chucking and ducking, and there was no game tomorrow. Like, I don't give a fuck if you broke your ribs or whatever. What do y'all think about him? Because I can't call it.
I like him. I ain't gonna lie. He was bad that game. I'm with you. And that should be alarming. But at the same time, like, I don't think we should get overly discouraged off a game, though. I think we gotta look at the sample size, though.
And he got 3 season-ending injuries at Indiana, maybe 4.
So there you go. That if I have any concern, that's my personal biggest concern. That right there. He's he's had really bad injuries already. How sustainable will he be? Can you trust him to not have a major injury? That's my biggest concern. Other than that, man, I like the cat. JB's talked about it multiple times about the complications of being like a lefty at QB and how the offense got to make a lot of adjustments. And JB can kind of dive into that more if he wants to. So I understand that part, but I like him a lot. I think he's mature. I think that ball has some zip on it that you can make just about any throw that you need to make. I think he plays smart. He was a little scary in that big game, which again, that's alarming, but he was in the big game. You know what I'm saying? He did get to that point, and he played amazing in the game before that, which was also a big game. So you get there. So
you made one statement. You said it was just a game. It wasn't just a game. It was the national title's last game. This was the last game for this quarterback to play. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hear you.
I got for the kid. It was the last game for the kid to play. Like, it was his last game, in my opinion. It wasn't just a regular game. And here's my take as a personnel guy evaluating it. I came on the show the next day and said, I lost him. He lost me in that game. Michigan had the most draftable players, 16 on their roster. Texas, knowing Sark, one of my better friends in this business, plays with the more, I would say, finesse style as a mentality as a head coach compared to Harbaugh. That defense was the closest thing that Penix will face in the NFL because they had 16 draftable players, 11 on defense total. That is what you're going to see in the NFL every day, Smitty.
But he'll have more too. He'll have all league guys with him too. That's the difference. You can't go to a bar fight with just
I get all that.
Nah, Smitty. I mean, I think if he's a first-round quarterback, they're going to be building around him.
But I'm saying, regardless, he's in the NFL. Is what I'm trying to say. Like he's gonna be around all NFL players. It's different.
Yeah, I get it.
The separation, the line separation is not the same in NFL, in my opinion, compared to college.
But to me, he still has to.
Scrubs are scrubs.
Yeah, he's got to do what he has to do, Smitty. What he performed in that last game. Listen, you cannot give a heart transplant. I don't care who's around you. I can't give you a heart transplant to Tank's point. This dude dropped back and was throwing off his back foot because he felt heat. You can't do it in the NFL. You got to stand in there or manipulate the pocket and step up. He showed me some shit that I was like, damn.
And look, and like I go ahead, Smitty. Go ahead, Smitty.
No, one last thing. I would say he will probably be a first round pick, but he's not projected to go top 5, top 10. As you just mentioned, he might go to Seattle. So I think he'll end up in a solid situation. I don't think he's gonna end up on like a horrible team where he has to carry the whole load. Nah, he's gonna be in a situation where they got some pieces already in place where he'll have some dogs around him too. So that's my last thing I want to say.
Well, I would say this, man. Listen, I know about PTSD, right? Like when you've had season-ending injuries, you don't want to have that again, man. Like I've seen some real like players that changed forever. Keith Rivers, when Hines Ward broke his jaw, Keith Rivers never turned and ran to the ball the same again. He would look, he would peek, and then he would run. He would never just burst out and run anymore. And so I felt like Michael Penix, he knew that he was going to the NFL after this game. And he was like, man, I can't get hurt in this game. I can't get hurt in this game. You know, and so
I agree.
I just don't see how, like, once he gets in the league, in the show, I mean, I hope he lets it go.
That's what I think. I think what you just said, I think he's like, hey, I want to win this. Bad, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I'm not about to pull a Jalen Smith. I'm not about to get hurt in my last game when I'm about to be a first round guy.
You can't do that. You can't do that. I'm saying that PTSD shit's real, but you can't do that, dog. Like if he I know for a fact if he's in a dark room watching that film by himself, folks is cringing like, damn, dog.
And I want to clarify a comment in the chat. CJ Stroud struggled 2 years in a row versus the same Michigan team. No, he didn't. See, that's why you don't know football. You know fantasy draft points. You didn't watch the game and fucking understand what CJ Stroud looked like in the game versus Michigan versus Michael Penix in the game versus Michigan. Stop. No, he didn't. CJ Stroud stood in the pocket, took a chin shot, and went through the football, which is equivalent to what has to happen in the NFL. Michael Penix did not do those things in that game. Stop.
We did have questions about CJ Stroud, though, coming into the draft, though. I will say that. And he asked, well, I'm not talking about you, JB, but he didn't go number one. Is what I'm trying to say. So, you know.
There is Penix. What do you mean? What is your point?
My point is that going to my original point from the beginning, we all just guessing right now, taking educated guesses, y'all. And we got people on here that, I mean, you guys, we know the game, but we don't really know until they go out there and step foot. Michael Penix might go out there and put on a show with the right team. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But let's be honest here, okay? What we do know is what? They're trading quarterbacks for nothing at an all-time high. That's facts, as you would say. There's no guessing in that.
That's a fact. Okay? You can't argue that.
The other takeaway guess, elimination by process of elimination.
Yeah.
The quarterback marketplace is every single year draft a new one to replace the one I just drafted 2 years ago. This is not a good look for the position. I'm just telling you. That's just not what the NFL used to do. We are now, what do you want to, sacrificing possible Tank Johnsons that helps our team get better interior-wise because we have to be good on O-line and D-line regardless of whatever else you have.
Right.
We now can't draft that guy because we have to replace another quarterback every single year, and it's always the same franchises like the Bears. How about the Bears, who just had a great offseason, in my opinion, go and get a Tank Johnson or an offensive tackle or a true number one wideout so DJ Moore can be his natural position and be in the slot and play the two and take Heat off? How about you get a running back? How about you go do a thing that we haven't seen? But guess what? They're going to go get another fucking quarterback.
Well, but hold on. This is what pisses me off, though, is that these fucking general managers, they keep messing this shit up and they keep getting recycled as general managers, yet they don't want to bring, former players or what. And I'm not just champion for former players, But these GMs be fucking it up, and I don't think they're held to the same standard as the people on the field, and they should be held to a higher standard.
Yeah, man. I just think from a management standpoint, they're kind of, stuck between the rock and the hard place. Okay, you stay with Justin Fields and build around him. Let's say Justin Fields, continues to not win. Let's just say that, not win it in Chicago. And then Caleb goes somewhere else and he actually becomes Caleb. Everybody's fired. And they've already missed out on. They could have had Patrick Mahomes during his draft, but they got Trubisky ahead of him.
And Deshaun Watson.
So those memories are in their head. So right now they're like, listen, we cannot afford to miss out on another potential generational quarterback. Now, again, us three or whatever, we're not super high on Caleb. But again, there is a very well possibility that he could end up being a generational quarterback. So if I'm Bears management, I'm like, worst case scenario, I'm at least buying myself some time because no one's going to really question them drafting Caleb. It's like, all right, we get it. Whether we love him or not, we understand why you're drafting him, and it at least buys you time versus staying with Justin Fields. It don't buy you no time. He has to play well now.
Here's my counter to that. Number one, I've talked to Shaun Salisbury. I've talked to Merrill Hodge. We're in discussion of doing a quarterback breakdown show, and none of us who I think have a decent understanding of the position, we all agree on one thing. This guy is not some generational talent we've never seen. He's not Cam Newton. He's not Mike Vick. He's not some dude we're like, damn, we ain't never seen the ball come off an arm like that. We ain't never seen a 6'6", 250 cat do that. We have seen Caleb Williams, dog, our entire life. That's fact. There's nothing he can show me on film that I haven't seen that I'm like, oh, fuck, this dude's fucking different. There's nothing. 3 NFL guys think that way. So that is what we can say. This isn't a guy we haven't seen before. And the fact that the people out there think that this is some generational talent is what blows me away.
That's why I'm confused, JB. Like, what are they? Like, what are they seeing then?
I'm just making a point that the quarterback market's shitty, homie.
No. I'm not saying confused with you. I'm saying based upon what you're saying.
No, I know. I'm saying
why are people? Why? What are they seeing then?
That's my point. I'm still making the same point. The quarterback position is shitty.
But
everybody's gonna be that guy.
But they're comparing them to Mahomes though.
Because it's so shitty. I'm telling you.
I think no.
That don't make. No, you can't compare guy to Mahomes just because the rest of them is shitty. Like you got to be seeing something.
I think it's his arm talent, right?
Thank you. All right, okay, come on now.
I think it's his ability.
I watched him play.
I think it's his ability to push the ball down the field from a lot of different angles. And that's something that, when people run out in the pocket and they get off balance, their balls drift to where they're going. And the real special ones can really put the ball on a dime. If you watch a lot of the passes that he's throwing to Jerry Rice's son, man, they are on the money. He's got arm talent, and he's probably got arm talent far and above a lot of the kids in the draft. But I think that's what they're based it on because it's not too many guys where their practice film gets circulated around the league. And when Patrick Mahomes was backing up Alex Smith, his practice films was getting pushed around the league like, you got to see this throw. You got to see this. And that's the same thing that they're doing with Caleb Williams. Some of his shit he pulled off in practice was circulating around, and that's why he's getting that type of praise.
That's all I want to hear because I'm like, listen, everybody has different levels of expertise with quarterback play and football, but everybody ain't just stupid and crazy. So it has to be something that people are seeing. So that answers my question.
JB, you know who you look like? You look like Billy Hoyle from White Man Can't Jump, dog.
I do right now with the black shirt and this.
And the hat going to the back.
Yeah, Billy
Hole. Billy Hole.